Hello and welcome. Let's play some shorthanded poker. We'll see if we'll be able to play. If this is uploaded, there's a game. There's not too many people on here, but to me, it's a growing site. Thus, of course, as far as the stock is concerned, which is what I look at NLC2 as, the extremely cheap prices are in these early infancy stages. We have a game. This is micro stakes where there's one of six people. Someone's waiting to play, waiting for someone to come in. I'll see if he wants to play. Stakes of 0.5 and 1, which is like almost a penny big blind, 1.2 pennies, or for me, Canadian, like 1.4 cents. Buy-in of 200 chips. I hold 5,000, then if it goes up to like 5,600 or more, I'll withdraw whatever to bring it down to 5,000. Thankfully, I've had a few withdrawals lately that I've been winning a little bit. Now, in this room, Dincha Haha player, who I'm familiar with within the fantasy site. For I'm playing fantasy tonight, I have some lineups for tonight. And if I click on live view for such, I can find right here in 13th place right now. I'm in 7th place, 8th place. This is my username here. I got 5 of them here. I'm hoping to do pretty well today. I got a few good plays, I think. But this is poker. But these are the things that are available within the No Limit site. I'm going to not play position on him, meaning I'm just going to go in the middle and just see what happens. I automatically have it set to buy in for me. So I'm going to buy in for 200 chips at the max. Rebuy. Sometimes it's a little faulty, as in it might take a little bit of time to do it. So within shorthanded, one of the things that I want to do is I want to play many different raise types. So I want to do min raise, I want to do 2.5x, 3x, 4x, and even try to throw in the very rare 6, 7, 8x plays. But key word for those ones is very rare, but enough where you're not always doing it with the premium hand. If I have to, meaning my opponent is really good, then I'm going to have to do things like fold or call on the button. Two things I do not like doing. Heads up or short-handed play when I got the button in front of me. I don't like to raising, like if I can raise 100% and I got the availability to do so, then I'm going to have to keep doing it. But if they're playing back at me, now this person might have automatically posted and I might not be able to play, and I'll just take the person's one chip because of the fact that maybe that person's not there because we're waiting for it. There's the away on it. So maybe I'll just pause the tape and wait for somebody to come. I was kind of hoping to get in a game right now, but you know what, stuff like this will happen. But if you just sit in, it's decent chance. Do I have a timestamp on here somewhere? Cash game, anyone with a 5,200 buy-in waiting. I don't know how long. Oh, that was this person here. So this person did a chat within there stating that they wanted to play. Well, I'll just pause the tape and wait for someone to come in. I guess beforehand I can just check, like in this, what I like to do is I play 5 100 unit games, one of the 500 units, so I put in 1,000. Right now I'm in 5th place, and I got some pretty good players. Chris Paul, 28.25 points. Not a bad start. Bradley Beal came through for me, thank you. LeBron James comes through for me. Oh my, Chiak Diallo comes through. Sabonis comes through. Gibson is coming through. Chris Middleton, not bad. But this guard position you can't see is Jalen Brunson. Okay, this is where it gets scary because now I'm going to go to the Roto World and get my news. And let's see what the status of Luka is. I haven't seen it. Luka will not play. Sweet, 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 sweet. I don't have to adjust my lineup. Come on, give me the win tonight, please. Let me take down the fantasy tonight. Because that's what the play was. Jalen Brunson is the backup to Luka Doncic. So some of the players that I played tonight, I'll show you how I mean, some guys are just fixtures that make every single lineup. Chris Paul was one of them. So we have in this one here, Chris Paul, Eric Gordon, LeBron James, Taj Gibson, Sabonis. Sexton gets 39. Horford, I expected better. I mean, it's halftime, so I guess this game started at 8. It's or 20 hours. It's now 21 and a half hours. Otto Porter, only 7 3/4. Well, this is only the 100-unit game. Okay, those are some of my private keys, or public keys, rather. I mean, if it was private keys, I wouldn't be showing it. I just had to get it out because I need to get my Bitcoin one in. Chris Paul, Chris Bazemore, Middleton, Diallo. Again, this is a normal one. Kyle O'Quinn, 24 points. Not bad. Steph Curry, 15.7. That's an 8:30 start. That's not too good. Okay, so this one's another one. Dwayne Wade. Nothing too fantastic at 21 and a half. Russell Westbrook. I was kind of scared to play Westbrook, but I mean, he's doing it. He played a big overtime game yesterday. Multiple overtime game. So therefore, looks like getting it done. Yep. There's my, this is that top lineup thing with Jalen Brunson playing. And my final lineup, Zach LaVine, Giannis. I was a little scared to play him. He's doing pretty good just because of the blowout factor. Kent Bazemore, and I was going to play him in every lineup. I really, really was. The reason why Kent Bazemore was the play was because of Herter being hurt. Sabonis was the play because of Turner being out. Taj Gibson is the play because of Karl Anthony Towns being out. Andrew Wiggins was a play because he's damn good. Avery Bradley, what a bad performance. But I was going to play him in every lineup. So that's beneficial. He was just playing really good. If I click on his stats, he was coming off of a 25, and a 52-point effort. That's really what I was going on. But you know what? I hardly played Avery Bradley. So I'm glad I diminished him off my lineup. Okay, so I hear a poker player coming in. Okay, so we did some fantasy. Now let's do some poker in here. Let's fold the 3-2 to start off with. And we get King 6 suited. So we're just going to, again, try to raise every button that we can. We get a fold, which is good to see. And on post-flop situations, try to, again, adjust different bet sizes. Showing some tightness along the way. Very easy to play players who are not aggressive. So now we did at min raise. Let's do a 2.5x. I like Jack Queen suited. We see a flop. We got second pair. And I want to keep these pots small. So if I want to do 2 bets, I would bet check. But I'm going to check here to ensure the pot is small. I add a gut shot straight draw. If this person bets, which it does, I think I'm safe just to call it down. Flush draws, nothing hits for that. In some cases, you want to put in extra value bets. If you know a player has tendency to call weak, you really want to bet here. But I'm not going to. I've only played a little bit with this player before. Whether that person would have value called, I would have got the exact same result had that player folded. We have a raise in here. If this person raises too much, I'm going to have to 3-bet with good hands and the right occasional odd time. Flopping middle pair, so therefore I'm going to want to get a bet in there because I probably feel that I have the best hand. I really feel that I do, but I don't want to bet it. If you're going to bluff at it, I almost want to just take it off that way. I have the best hand. Okay, so we're going to raise this no matter what we get. It's Queen 4. Let's do another min raise. I want most of my raises to be 2 and 2.5x with a few 3 axes, 3, 5, and 4, and maybe 4.5s a little bit. and then very rarely some bigger ones like 6, 7, 8 times, but again, very rarely. So we got one pair, we got a call. What would they be calling with? Pair of kings, possible flush draw on hearts, less chance it's heart, or excuse me, less chance it's kings, higher chance it's hearts. You got missed straight draws. So therefore, do you really have the red king? There's a lot of draws out there. It's very hard for me to fold this hand. And he does have it. They're one of the red kings. When you know players are so tight in the obvious spots where it's a good call, it becomes not as such. So one thing I want to figure out, okay, how much is he doing this with? I'm going to fold the queen 5, although that's about as strong of a hand I can fold. Queen 7, queen 8 I play. If it was suited, I would play it as well. So we have a 4-3 suited on this case here. We're looking at a flush draw. So I obviously, if I get hit, I want to make sure I get as big of a pot as I can. Possibly take it down now, which I don't. Don't hit it here. I can triple barrel bluff. One thing I like doing is a cheap bluff, but I want to hit, which I do. But if it came, say, 7 of clubs and it's check, I might bet $3 or 3 units. If the person bets, I'm in a real interesting spot, which it doesn't. Do I raise? Because do you have 2 hearts? If you do, you got me beat. I beat anything but a flush. A flush beats me. Okay, so we take the pot down. Jack 2, we've got the hand up top here. You can see it faster on that level there. Person's raising standard. I'm going to start having to come over the top here and there, but it's getting soon where I'm going to have to do it on a bluff. Let's do a 3x raise. We haven't done that yet. And I want to do, like, again, a whole bunch of different ones. I got top high card, bad kicker, and because of that, I'm going to bet. If I had like a king 9, that's definitely a king jack, I would probably be more apt to check because I realize it's only an okay bet to try to take it. Did not hit a club, but wasn't really looking for it with the 4. Now I got a pair of 4s, so I outdraw king queen, king jack, and pocket 3s, as well as maybe a king 2 or a 2-3. I'm just going to check and hope it wins. And 3s, there we go. So one of the hands that I was hoping for. What would I have won on a bluff there? Not too sure. Coming off of a win, I don't think a raise here on a bluff is the right play, but I do. It's a decent enough hand. I have the choice here. Okay, now I'm definitely going to bet. If the person was to bet, do I go in with a raise on what would be a 1-stab bluff, just as this is here too? Now do I want to pretend that I have a 5? I don't like the chances you got the ace. So 7s, pocket 9s, would you lay that down? I'm going to give up. I don't like my chances I get. I would normally bet 8 to try to take it. And then you got the cheesy 3 to do it. Pocket 6s, yeah. Now whether that bluff bet would have taken it, I don't think it would have. So let's just go and do a 3x raise here. We got pocket 10s. Overpair, I gotta think pocket jacks, queens, kings, all that type of stuff is going to raise pre-flop. So therefore I can safely try to go for, I didn't get it, try to get a decent sized pot. Because sometimes I want to play for small, medium, and large sized pots. Well, this is a strong enough hand. I haven't 3-bet yet. I'm going to do a pot size raise, 5 more. Hope to get the fold right now, and I do. I was playing someone recently where I was able to, they were raising me so much, I was so forced into do it. But my 3-bets were actually winning from the big blind. It was like 75-80%. It was kind of fun. But that was a really good player. I enjoyed playing that person. Maybe that person will come in and sit down. We're going to have to fold that there. A lot of boring hands, but you know what? That's the king-queen, decent enough hand, and I haven't done one of these larger size raise just to show that I'm capable of doing it, and I still get a call. Good thing I flop a set when I do it. Possible flush draw. Now the reason why I don't want to bet is I want like a king jack to hit either or, and I don't want the fold overall, but I do want to take the pot. If you got a pocket pair, I do risk, other than any pocket pair, I do risk you sucking me out. So I want you to get it in if you got that pair now. So that's why, and then of course it's easier to win a big pot. So that's why I would prefer to get the pot in, especially when you're playing, like this is 200 big blind poker. Now the effective stack is 190 with a 180. So we're taking some pots down, good to see, up to 220 and 3/4. Fort 2, I've been able to raise every single time. Like if I'm getting pressure back at me, that means I'm going to have to start limping in if I get 3-bet a lot and folding. If I get 2-7 offsuit, I am raising right now. There's no reason to fold anything out of the button. The folding this player is doing right now, way too much. And we'll continue the raising here. I got an ace, so we'll take down these pots. Nice to have happen. I kind of wish there was ante in this, if I could take 60-65% of the pots down. But all the folding in the dealer position, you know, as I was stating, when I look back at that bluff call, that I made, it was a bad call. When normally it's an amazing call, because the likelihood that this person is playing garbage. Now this is an interesting spot. I'm not going to call here, but sometimes I will, because I realize I know what you got. You got 2 big cards or a good pair. So I realize, knowing that if I flop it right, play a big stack poker, but it's a nice raise. I gotta respect that. I mean, if you put a small like min raise or barely over min, I'm forced to at least call. But if a player is folding as much as they are like that, and when they come out and they state that they got a good hand, you gotta give it respect. And if they are capable of bluffing now and again, you're just going to have to let them do it. Because the likelihood when you're bluff calling over and over and over again that you're going to be able to succeed is not too good. Let's see if I can take this pot down on a 40% size of the pot, 2 out of 5. Whenever I check flop, they check, and then like this, especially like an ace. Okay, so you're trying to get me. What do I think they would have? I gotta think 2 pair or better in this spot, because yeah, I'm gonna lay it down. I mean, it's a gut shot as it was anyway. And even when I hit the gut shot, oftentimes. Now I haven't raised minimum yet, so we'll do it here now while it's a bad hand. That's why I like to set the tones in, because when you don't know what I'm capable of raising, it gets to the point later in the game when I really want to go big or small, I'll allocate myself the availability to do it without really giving too much of it off. Now there's a pair on board. I could lose to queen king on this spot. Any type of bet that you make for like 6-7, which is what I was hoping that player was going to do, because I would just flat call. It sucks if I get raised here, but I got to put value in. There we go. I got the winning pot. And that's why in advanced play, when you're playing with professionals, that's why you put these extra raises in. Person's making a lot of raises on the button, so this is my second 3-bet. I like the hand like a 7-8 kind of suited. 2 for 2 now in 3-betting, so I'm not going to be doing it with junk, and I'm really hoping that the next time the person raises out of the button that I actually pick up a nice hand. This is a good hand. Up and down straight draw, middle pair, backdoor flush draw. I definitely want to start building a pot in here. There we go. And now we got the straight. So unless there's an ace queen holding here, I got the best hand. Or I could be chopping with another queen. And it becomes sick if I get raised here. And there we go. Because now there's a chance, is it ace queen? Are we talking a chop chop situation? Because you're playing a hand like, well, now I'm just going to check it back, but it's probably going to be a chop chop. Yeah. So I was lucky enough to be able to control that pot size there, and let's call this bet. No need to 3-bet in here. We got to flop a dummy end straight draw. We got a flush draw. So definitely going to at least play. I could come in with a raise, but I want to keep the pot just a little small. Now, one thing I like in poker is when you're out of position is call the flop bet. And you can do this with absolutely nothing as well, and then lead out on the turn. That's it right there. Now, obviously, now I got a hit. I don't. And I'm going to try the small bluff. I'll take away pretty much all my profits if I get called. But in case you're holding that king, which that person probably was, I'm able to take down the pot. 8-7. There's, again, if I'm getting 3-bet over and over again, we got a player in here. Raises every button heads up. And this is a pretty good player. Pair of sevens. We got a flush draw. I mean, a weak flush draw. And we take it. Let's take it. So now we're playing three-handed poker. At least, yeah, right here. So we're on the button again. This player is an aggressive player. Pretty decent, but oftentimes will give pot odds when I need be. So that's what I like about it. I got him on a bad beat a few days ago, but we'll see if what happens here. Top pair, I got the flush draw, I got a weak kicker. I want the pot small. Now I got a set. So the queen of diamonds is the only remaining queen. I definitely got to get pot outside, or a bet in there. I don't think I want to do anything like a large size bet. There's the full house. Now, obviously, I've seen before when I did a small bet, the player folded. Hasn't seen much of my hand, so this doesn't give me a read what a 3/4 size is, or 65% bet, what that means. The only way I lose is pocket jacks, which, I mean, it was extremely rare. So the crap hand in the big blind. We got a raise, which means that we're going to... man, this is an interesting 3-bet if you wanted to do it. But I'm going to pass. See how these players play the hand out. We can see what I would have folded. Hopefully I can come in and I see something like pocket jacks or an ace queen and know that my 3-bet would have ultimately failed. But I'm not going to see the hand here anyway. 8-8, pocket eights. Do I play? Now this person's probably going to raise. Nope. Now mathematics on here. This is my favorite play. When it's battle of the blinds and it's a fold, you do a min raise. It's an even odds bet. So within half one, you're risking that of 1.5 to win 1.5. So if they fold half the time or better, you're actually profiting. But for the times they just call up and down here, you actually get to play a pot. So it's a free flop with a pot in it right now, which is great. Okay, 2 or 7. We got the 7. 6-8 beats us. And yes, he could call a 6-8 offsuit, or even definitely a 6-8 suited. But there's a lot of 2 pairs, single pair situations. We got 7, 8, 9. Oh man, I really hate that 8. I'm just going to check it and hope it's not a chop. There we go. Jack 4. Not a good hand. We got a raise here. Could come in with a 3-bet, but I'm doing a lot of times when I need to put these just strange raises in. Why do I want to do it when I'm in an uptrend on this stack? I got 281. We'll do that play again. We're 1-0 in the situation. Now we're 1-1. We get a free look and we get a gut shot straight draw. So I'll do another bet. So we'll do 2.5 to win 4. So if I could win 2.5 of 6.5 of these, I think, or something like that, then I would break even. So another small win along the way. I'm raising queen 6. Let's just do a min raise on here. And raise, right now, raise every single button. There's no reason to even fold a 2-8 offsuit at this stage. Top pair, medium kicker with the queen. So we'll put a bet in there. This is where I prefer a bet check if the flop comes right. And this is a proper turn card. Because if this player's got anything big, I want them to think that they can check raise me like crazy on the river, which is not going to happen. And if you got the 7, congratulations. But why didn't you bet? Oh, good, you don't. But I like to, when I have a good hand, but I don't want to get check raised, and I don't on the river. I'll put in, and I want to get some value. I'll bet the flop, bet the turn like I did there, and there's two pair coming from a raise. So I'm gonna check and then go with the check raise in this situation, hoping this player bets. There's the bet. I'm protecting against. I mean, hearts, meh, I don't, whatever, maybe. But an 8, I don't want to see. And let's just move her all in now. See if hopefully you got pocket jacks and they hold. They don't hold. Hit your flush draw. Nothing you can do about that. I knew like you want to protect when you know you got it. You want to protect against those types of hands. So I look at it as in I got my chips in at the right spot and it didn't go through. Now notice I didn't add my 44 in, which they should have done. Now they do. Sometimes it'll take a few hands to do it. But I got this player to put all their chips in behind. Now what I notice oftentimes playing is I'll look at situations where things are reversed. I'm going to try to get it in. Like obviously I wouldn't expect another player with two pair to go ahead. Now a lot of times this is the tilt spot when you are a spot where you should tilt in your situation here. Now this sucks because that could add straight draws, but like queen jack is always in play. Hands like that and king jack are in play. So you do got the rare ace 10 and 10-9 that you got to be concerned with, but I got some of those losses back from the previous hand. So maybe I'm a barely down, but pretty much even. It's all a long-term game, as it is anyway. Anyway. Okay. So let's continue on playing. King 5 suited in the small blind. If he raises, I'm going to 3-bet. There we are. So let's put a normal size pot. I can go 10, but you know what? 9 works even better. I get the same information. It's a little bit less. This player here has to have a hand now because I don't think he got the guts to 4-bet a bad hand. So, I mean, I'm going to have to lay it down. You have two plays here. Fold or raise. If you're raising, you got a pot of 43. You know what? Mathematically, all-in's not the worst plays on it. But the math on the all-in is you're risking like what you got remainder behind, like 228 to win the 43. But if you get called, you got an X% chance of winning, and that X% chance is much lower than 50. So the mathematics upon it is you pretty much need to draw a fold, about 65-70% of the time for it to break even. I've done the math on it before. So this is what I talk about where I oftentimes will get pot odds from this player on the 3-bet, which is what I invite. I think that was a little small of a raise. I think 750 should have been the medium size. I'm going to check this, but if a double check comes in, I might want to go after. I'm going to have to call a bet now at least because of an up and down straight draw. And if I miss, which I don't, then I would have had to concern what I would do in a bet. Very sick beat if 7-8 comes in. But I'm going to have to raise it nonetheless. 7-8 is just too rare. It really is. Yeah, I mean, and then I don't even get to show the hand, which is obviously something. One thing about poker too is how many hands can you play without showing? And there's a lot of them that can come into play for me because the better you can do in not showing, especially when you're playing against other solid players, the less information that you're going to be giving your opponents. There's only two plays here. It was either fold or raise. Had I raised and I got one call, you'd have to lead out here. It's some situation, again, I don't need to make that play there, but an aggressive play is what I'm always going to be able to look for. And short-handed poker is what I like best. 2-handed, 3-handed, 4-handed is my favorite. I mean, I don't mind 5-handed and up to even 11-handed I've played, which is really the Canadian casino game. At least every casino I've been, I shouldn't even say Canadian, Ontario, because every casino I've been to in Ontario, which is only 4, always had 11-player tables. So they get as many people on there. But there's a much bigger difference when you play short-handed, medium-handed, and long-handed. And right now, of course, this is shorthanded play. So this is the third time it's Battle of the Blinds. Until the player can adjust to me doing this, I'll do this 100 times in a row if the player is unable to adjust. And now this player left, so it's back to heads up. And how much longer will I go? I got 30 minutes. I can go another 10 or so at least. If this person leaves, it'll be the end of the video. But not, so we're back to heads up poker. Now this is the spot where it's really weird. They pay like the small blind price, but I'm in position here. So if this player limps in, then I would raise. I'm at least going to call this. I'm actually going to re-raise this. You know what? No. I mean, if it's a better ace or a folding hand, then I might. But I don't really think that I need to. Any type of draws out there? Not really. I don't think you'd have a 6. Definitely not a 4. And I say that because if they had something of just decent size speculation, you can, a lot of times they'll call one street. When you know that's the mindset, you got to double barrel it. I'm a much bigger fan of double barreling than triple barreling. Now this is interesting because this player doesn't 3-bet me too much, and I got a very good hand, but there's still queens, kings, and aces along there. A queen comes up. Do I think this person's got, now ace king is a realistic possibility, but of the aces, you got ace king, ace queen, ace jack, and ace 10. Ace jack is obviously one of the less situations out there. Now I have an up and down straight draw, which means, do I have a, no, obviously I was looking at this as a possible spade. It sucks because I could be looking at ace queen, I could be looking at kings, I could be looking, I mean, but on a 3-bet spot, are you just going to keep on barreling ace king? Show me ace king, show me ace king, pocket kings. And like I say, I knew it. Now look at how many people would have lost a lot with jacks there. I know enough with this player that they haven't 3-bet me enough where I can safely assume that jacks are a strong hand. If I'm playing against an aggressive player who raises me a lot, it's about 100%, depending on how the flop play goes with that player, that I'm going to 4-bet them. But I know enough of this player that it had to have been a strong hand. So I knew the range was aces, kings, queens, possibly 10s, but now you're looking at what they probably just call with 10s. And then you had ace king for certain as well. Ace queen was in the mix, but again, that would have hit. Ace king, and now you're just like talking about pocket 10s. You're talking about maybe just calling those hands. Okay, 8-ball me, didn't get the 8. That player could also be playing an 8, could have ace 8. And if they have ace 8, I'd have it win. Show me ace 8, but 7 king. 9, hit that, yeah. Alrighty then. So playing well. The results haven't spoken for it, but I really haven't lost too much in the case either. There's been a lot of bad hands on the raising. But one thing you notice about this player, how many times heads up has this player limped? I don't think that player has ever done so. So if a limp were to come, I would think it was about a 90% chance that it was an accidental button push at this stage. Because this player knows in position, when it heads up, that it's either fold or raise. I'm going to 3-bet here if that player is to raise, but obviously I take the walk, as they call it. Let's go back to the 3x play. I don't really think I'm going to need to do any large raising, so there's spots where it is, mainly with aces for that matter, and then when you're playing the game against many people, it works out more prevalent. So now we got this person betting 9. Got a flush draw, was only a draw out there. I think at worst, maybe value betting 3 jacks still. I mean, you can't call that. Technically you could call if you think they're really betting crap hands. I've had situations where I've thought and executed like queen high, jack high calls because I realized the range of nothing bluff hands were worse than what I hold. Let's do about 5 more minutes, 4 more minutes. We got 35 minutes right now. Ace King, come on, put your 2.5 in. Thank you. And let's just do a little bit more because we got a little stronger of a hand. Interesting. So now, I really don't, to me, calling is not a play. Aces and kings, possibly. Ace king, ace queen. Because it's the end of the video, queens, mathematically, I guess you could say is a fold. And a lot of times the best you're going to do is chop it. Not often would that happen. In that spot against most people, probably 90% of the time it's all in, 10% of the time it's fold. That's the 10% of the time. I'm looking at the range of hands. Queens, kings, aces, ace, king, and jacks as well. And then I'm looking at the hands of ace, queen, ace, jack. I really don't think so. So here we got the wrong card to have the spade, but you still have a flush draw. Let's now put in a... if I realize this player was at a higher intellectual level, the one thing that scares me is a person's thinking, oh, you're tilting. And then the fold. However, at a higher level, if I was to think that, then I would be making the playing to call a bluff, re-raising further, all that type of stuff. So this player called a pair of twos on the flop all in and triple barrel, so I know he's capable of big bluffing. What I know if he's calling a pair of twos pre-flop, technically speaking, that's simple math. If you're in a big pot, and you got 2 twos and you're faced with an all-in decision, then it's what I call the 50-50, double dodge actually. The double dodge as I would call it. And I'm only going to play about 2 more minutes, so I'll finish off by talking about the double dodge and whatever comes up. That is, with pocket twos, you first got to dodge them having a pocket pair. Because obviously you're going to be on that pair over pair spot. And if you do that, and if you don't, you're 20%. Now, if you dodge that pair over pair spot, then you got to dodge like a 50-50 spot. So you have your first off, you're 20% if you fail the first one, and if you succeed, you're 50%. So the odds are just never that great in your favor. Now, the reason I played it that way, bet turn, get value in there, entice a bluff on the river, and that's how I played that hand there. So it's just like before. I lost the first bet. I lose this bet. Really not. I mean, I could go with some more double barreling and stuff like that. Now I don't have to bluff the river because I hit my pair. If I get bet, I got to look at what possible draws are out there. Look at that. Checks the sevens. That's why I realize if the player bets, it's going to be either that of a good hand or a bad hand. And that's when you take the game to further levels. Are you able to value bet medium strength hands? This is where we have a gut shot straight draw. So I'm just going to try to take the pot with one bet. Also, if I happen to get the jack, I'm going to be glad that I increased the pot a little bit. So it's a 100% of the time situation there that you want to try to take down that pot. Do I get raised here? It's an easy call if I do. At a standard raise, I got position. That's what, there we go. So I either call or I either 3-bet. And I'm going to 3-bet here because of the fact that I got position. And this player does raise more than, doesn't like to call. There we go. Take the pot down. If we get called, I'm playing a pot in position. And if I start to notice, I want to get more situations. How often are you going to 3-bet me? Because if I see you're doing it more often, then I'm not going to no longer be folding that ace king in that situation. Okay, so Let's let's play one more round after this. Three more hands after this. You have to bet this. It's funny because back in 2005 or 6, I think it was 2005, I was watching Celebrity Poker Showdown with Phil Gordon. And then he mentioned, well, if whenever you bet with the pair on board, you usually win it. And I'm going to do that thing I mentioned before where they'll call one street situation because if they got a big hand, then I know it's, yeah, most likely they got the ace minimum. So what happened was I went online and, oh, interesting. Okay, I wouldn't have expected that. I guess, no, straight draw. Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. Really, the psychologic that I was trying to come on was that if you have an okay hand, if you don't get anything good on the next street, you're always going to fold. And adding a gut shot was just that. I could 3-bet here. I'm also playing set strategy. As long as I can win 10 times what I put in, which is 25 units, it's worth it. I'm going to hit a flop 2 of 17 times. I'm going to hit the 6. I didn't hit it there. And now I'm going to put in a little bet. Yes, because there's possible straight draws if I get called, which I do, and I get a miss and I don't. I could bluff call because straight draws would include hands with a queen in it most times. There's your queen. And that's what I was hoping for. So if I seen a blank that missed with the straight draw calls, I opened myself up to bluff call, which is what I was going to consider doing. I'm going to 3-bet here and play one more hand. So a losing session, but I played good. I was really happy with my play. Still this hand and the next hand. We get a call here. Do we get a good flop? Not necessarily, but I'm still going to play it out like I got a pair of pocket jacks, pocket queens, in that hand, pocket tens. There's a call. Now let's see, before I make my decision. Okay, you know what? If I get a call here, what I'm thinking is that it's combined with the straight. And if you got a big hand, I mean, that's it. You got to have a big hand to call me. So this is going to be the final hand. I'm going to push this auto blind button here because what I like to do, and I did this at the casino oftentimes, is the last hand before my big blind, I'll just play and then I'll just pick my chips off. So it was common for me at the casino, the seat beside the big blind, I'll play a hand, I'll play whatever, and then I'll just pick up my chips and walk to the cashier. Okay, let's take this bet in. Hopefully we take it down and we end the session here and now, which we do. Thank you for tuning in. Let's just see what the damage was. Let's exit out of here. Still a little over 5,000 here. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.